Hey everybody, getting ready to make some fresh pasta. I want to make one of the recipes from the Foods of Jane blog, her lemony creamy sauce that I want to make with some homemade pasta, because I think those are two things that will go really well together and neither will overpower the other. So I'm just going to make a small amount, so I'm going to do it by hand. I'm just going to do it by hand. I'm not going to use a standing mixer. But if you want to double or triple the batch, then using a standing mixer is great because it does a lot of that kneading for you. So I'm gonna kind of pour out about half a cup and a half, and then a little bit more just for dusting, and then 2 eggs, a little bit of salt, and a little few drops of water. That makes it nice and malleable, and it's worked really well for me. I have my wine because we're gonna make pasta, so gotta make wine. Okay, let's go. That's probably about enough. Can always add more. All right, we're gonna make the little well you always see. I never do well with this, so we're gonna kind of see how this goes and hope for the best. All right, let's crack an egg, 2 eggs, a little bit of that. Bit of salt and a little bit of water, just a little, just like that. All right, and let me grab a fork. And a sip of wine. Yummy. Get this out of the way. Let's see how messy we can get this. So just sort of start on that. You can also do this in a really big bowl if you're not comfortable doing it this way. But if you've done it a few times, it's probably okay. I've done it in the big bowl before because I'm not known for not making a mess. So that's the safe way to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing this, adding in the flour, mix. Just gonna start mixing it up in here now. Pretty happy that I didn't make too big of a mess. Probably gonna need some more flour though, but that's okay. And if you've done this before, then you know that you can just keep adding flour. And if you find out you need another egg, throw in another egg or throw in another water. I usually add olive oil, but like I said earlier, I'm out. So I'm going to be done here and bring it together and see what we got before I start to really give it a good knead. I think I need some more flour though. Grab some more. That's all you do, just keep grabbing it. It's still sticky, it's still eggy. So now I'm just gonna start getting it together here. Now my hands are covered, I can't drink the wine. I can, but it'd be messy. So I'm just gonna do this first and give it a push, turn it this way. And this is going to go on, like I said, for approximately 8 minutes. If you are a exceptionally strong person, very fit, this might not take you so long, but you'll start to see that the texture will feel different. It will start to smooth out. It'll feel smooth and it will feel like it's got a little bit of a, I guess, bounce. And we're getting there. See, it's looking a little more smooth. I'm really bummed that I don't have olive oil, but that's okay. Almost done getting there. I actually started making pasta, oh my gosh, probably 10 years ago when I was I was trying to find a bolognese recipe, and I came across the Smitten Kitchen lasagna bolognese recipe. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that blog. She is really amazing. And that story actually happened to have, I think, a story about how she met her husband on 9/11. Not that they were injured or anything, but I think they met in a cafe or something. It was a really great story. And that's kind of where I started to learn about Deb Perlman and her great blog and her great storytelling. So I decided that instead of just making a bolognese sauce, that I would make homemade pasta for the very first time and make a 5-hour bolognese and a bechamel, which I don't even think I knew what that was at the time. I didn't have a pasta roller. I didn't have any sort of equipment. So I used might have used a wine bottle. I know I've used a wine bottle at one point, but I think in my apartment, I probably used a rolling pin. And I was exhausted and sore and my shoulders ached, but it didn't come out too badly. And with a lot of practice, I've made more lasagnas than I can count, pasta, a lot of ravioli, but I haven't done it in a while. So I'm kind of excited to start this up again. And we are getting there. I think I'm gonna add I'm gonna add a little water, and all I really do is get my hand wet and then do that. I don't want to add a lot of water. And then there we go. It feels a little better. It's raining out, so it's a good day to make some pasta. So, and I think we're almost there. I also watched a lot of Anne Burrell making pasta on Iron Chef when she was Mario Batali's sous chef. So I watched her do this a lot. I actually use her bolognese recipe when I make my lasagna bolognese. I think hers is all beef, and I use 2 parts beef and 1 part lamb. And I really like it. It gets a little gamey with that lamb. Just about done here. Looks good. So, gonna go ahead and pause this and then put it in a bowl and let it rest for about 30 minutes. Then I'll bring it back and we will make it into some nice, delicious pasta. All right, everybody, we're gonna get ready to start rolling out some pasta. This isn't a large amount of pasta, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a rolling pin. I do usually use a attachment to my standing mixer, but we don't have a lot of pasta here, so it won't take long to do with a knife. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna cut it into quarters. And then I'm gonna keep this one out. And then these I will get covered with the flour. And then I'm gonna add to a Ziploc bag because otherwise it will dry out a little bit while we are waiting to roll out the rest of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. And then set that aside. And if you didn't want to roll out anymore, these could go into the refrigerator until tomorrow, and then you could roll them out then. So I'm gonna add a little bit more to here. And usually I just smooth it out a little bit by hand. Give it a little quick mini knead before I roll it out because it's been sitting in the fridge. And do that. Try to get it even. And then put a little bit of flour on the rolling pin. And if you're using a machine, just make sure that your pasta's got enough flour on it. And you'll notice if it starts to stick, just stop the machine and then you can add a little bit more flour. These types of things are very easily fixable. And move that knife. I don't really need it right now. And I'm gonna start to roll it out. And it's not sticking, which is great. Okay, this is starting to feel nice. Take a look at it here. I still feel like it's a little too thick. I'm gonna roll it a little bit longer. That's probably good to go. This isn't perfectly even, but this isn't a big piece. So I'm just gonna fold it this way and this way. And then take my knife, a little flour. Be careful. And we're just gonna slice off these ends like this to keep things nice and even. And then we're gonna cut about like that. That. Get rid of that. So I'm gonna quickly separate these, otherwise they'll stick together. So we're gonna do that. I know a lot of people will hang these, but sometimes if you hang them and they start to dry out, they will break. So I have found that it's better to sort of do something like this. And you can also do the bird's nests. I've never been able to successfully do that. So I'm just going to add a little bit of flour. Like that. And there we go. I think we're all set. And I'm going to put these in the freezer and then we'll eat them tomorrow.